The time is 11:57 p.m. It is currently Sunday, August 9th, 2026. And I am going to talk about how the day went. So let's get going. I was woken up by my mom at 8:30 p.m. She wanted to talk with me about how things are going currently around the house. So she made some jelly toast and made a cup of coffee for me. So we sat down, we had some discussion about how to improve things. It was pretty good. Then I was really sleepy, so I decided to go back to bed, and I woke up at around 11 o'clock. When I got up at around 11, I greeted my mom and my sister and our family friend, said hello to all of them, asked them how they were doing, said they were doing very well. And then I remember I was, gosh, talking with my sister. I remember looking up on the YouTube app anything interesting to watch, like when I got up and found there was a new Y Files episode. This one was about the Nine and the JFK conspiracy. And I told my sister about how he's covering that and how it reminded me of this car trip I went on to that plasma donation center where I was listening to a podcast where a guy just kept on bringing up the Nine over and over again. And it got to the point where I was like, the Nine, every time he said the Nine, because I thought it was funny because he just kept on saying it. But yeah, then she told me all about these different conspiracies about like how like there's this like secret society of like cult members who all gather around and like do horrific things, like sacrifices and you know things like that, and how they are running things behind the scenes. And yeah, she really gave me the lowdown on all that, and even showed me a video of a guy who claimed to have been part of the like the Freemasons in like this place called like I think it's Garden Grove or something like that, where a bunch of very powerful elite people meet up to do like messed up rituals. Um, and it was very intense, knowledge download, I will say. After that, my mom and I were getting hungry, so my mom made some hash browns with eggs, and she made eggs with corned beef hash, and I made hash browns by frying it in oil. And when that was ready to go, we sat down and we ate together. I had a cup of coffee with my meal. It was very nice. I really enjoyed my mom's cooking, very tasty. And then after that, I remember telling both my mom and our family friend that our movie watching experience for the new Spider-Man was going to be arriving at 2:25, so we should be leaving by 2:20. As we were cooking the food before eating it, I decided to heat up the last of the remaining peanut butter cookies, and my sister had a really cool idea of flattening them out so they were really flat, because I noticed the previous peanut butter cookies were very thick, and I mean, they were more like peanut butter scones than cookies. For some reason, the guy who came up with the recipe decided to use baking powder instead of baking soda. I think I prefer baking soda with cookies because, you know, I don't know. I feel like I like flat cookies. I don't like cookies that are expanding upward, because then you have too much cookie like blowing up in your face and it's like overwhelming. So yeah, um, that's what happened. She flattened them. We put those crisscrosses on, and we put them in the oven, and it came out. They were really good. I then needed to use the restroom, and then when I was done, uh, I got a notification from my mom that our family friend would not be coming with us to see the film because they said they were too sick to see the movie. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll ask my sister if she's interested in going. My sister said she was not. So it was just going to be me and my mom, and I would request a refund for one of the tickets. So we drove off to the theater. My mom drove. And when we arrived, we were having difficulty finding parking. So my mom dropped me off in the front so I could get the refund and then confirm the tickets with the theater staff. Once they confirmed the tickets and gave me a refund for one of the tickets, I then turned around and lo and behold, my mom was waiting. It's like she magically teleported there. It was pretty crazy. And then we walked in and we just there was like this one of those paper cutouts where you poke your head in for a picture, and so I decided to take a picture with my mom and like her head poking out of this like cartoon cutout. It was super cute. And then we went into the theater to see the film. Now, two trailers played before the movie. The first one was Jumanji Open World, and my mom was hooting and hollering at this one. She thought this movie looked super funny. I thought it looked very silly, but I'm glad she was having a great time. And then there was another movie. And honestly, the second one, I don't really, I'm having a difficulty recalling what the second trailer was. Uh, yeah, so I'm not going to bother trying to remember it right now. But then the weirdest thing happened. After the second trailer, there was an advertisement for Burger King playing right before the film started. That is unheard of because normally when I go to the theater to watch a new movie, what I normally see is that, oh, there's a new, there's just a bunch of trailers for new movies, and then we get straight to the film. But this is the first time I've ever seen an advertisement for a fast food restaurant play right before a movie starts. It just felt kind of oddly like corporately dystopian in a weird way. Like I felt like I was in um like hardcore capitalism mode. I don't know why. It just was really, really odd. Um I know at the end of the day theaters need to stay alive by doing sponsorships and partnerships and making money so they can keep their businesses afloat. Thankfully, Spider-Man, I've heard is it's doing extremely well, and our theater was packed, and like I think the movie's made $1.6 billion in 10 days, which for any blockbuster is completely unheard of, especially in a day and age where it feels like traditional like theatrical going experiences are shrinking more and more. But it feels like films like Spider-Man and the Mario Galaxy movie and Toy Story 5, yeah, sure, a lot of them are derivative of pre-existing IPs, but they're keeping theaters alive. And, I like the theater going experience. I don't want it to go away. And so the fact that it's keeping theaters alive is really nice to hear because, like, I grew up going to the theater, and, there's just something special about that communal experience of witnessing a film with a group of strangers and, of course, your friends and family as well, and just you know experiencing it in that way. It's not like any other movie watching experience I can think of. Like, watching a movie at home, sure, I'm still enjoying the movie, but hearing the reactions of the crowds and like getting a sense of what people like feel about the film they're watching adds a lot to the experience. And I just hope that never goes away. If it does, that would be very depressing and dystopian in my opinion. It's like one of the few communal experiences that we have left as like a remnant of what was formerly a uniculture. Now it's an extremely diverse culture where like everyone has their own special small niche that they're super into. Whereas before, we only had like a few TV channels and shows and like theater experiences to pay attention to. So, people were more, able to have water cooler talk about like what was going on around them. But now there's just so much going on around us that we rarely have those special, like, crowded experiences where everyone has, oh, I saw that. And oh, that was really good. And it's kind of nice that that still seems to be alive and well, at least with this new Spider-Man movie. It's currently at $1.67 billion, which is crazy. But anyways, I watched this new movie, Spider-Man: Brand New Day, and I thought it was very good. Do I like it as much as the Tobey Maguire trilogy? No, I'm not going to say that. I mean, first off, I grew up with those movies, so I'm like hardcore nostalgic for those films, like because I grew up watching and rewatching those films to death on like DVD, and I even bought the 4K Blu-rays of them. I like those movies so much, or love those movies so much. Um, I just think they're supremely fun, entertaining, just purely strong superhero movies. Spider-Man 2, genuinely, in my opinion, still hasn't been topped. It is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, superhero movies ever made. So it's kind of hard to top something like that. And I just think it's because those movies were designed to be so, everything about them felt so intentional, from like, the pacing to the editing to the like music to the like shot composition. Just everything about them felt so personal, and it like there was so much attention there. I remember watching the first Andrew Garfield film and thinking to myself, I mean, that was a well made film. I mean, it was unnecessary, but I didn't not like watching it. I enjoyed a lot about it. Like, I thought it was still a fun romp, but at the same time, it just felt like we're treading water with this one. Like, we kind of know his origin story. It felt like, ooh, well, if it's a new reboot of Spider Man, then we have to retell the origin again. It's like you don't need that. It's unnecessary. Like, we know what happened. Like, he gets spider powers. He gets bitten, and his uncle dies, and he vows like to uphold the memory of his uncle by remembering is with great power comes great responsibility. Advice. We get it. So they did that again, and that was annoying. But the actual film, a lot of production qualities about it are good. Like, I think Andrew Garfield made a fantastic Spider-Man. Um, in terms of like the actual character in the suit. In terms of Peter Parker, not so much. I think Peter Parker, he's supposed to be kind of nerdy. He's supposed to be a little bit of a goofball, but the thing is, like, people who watched like the Andrew Garfield, they thought, oh, that guy's like, especially the ladies, they thought he was really attractive. But for someone who's supposed to be nerdy and goofy, you don't really want that. For your, you know, to be true to the character. But hey, the music was nice. I think it was composed by I'm forgetting his name. He was the guy who composed the music for Avatar and Titanic, but um, and also An American Tale. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name right now. He died. He sadly died in a helicopter, a plane accident, or something like that. So rest in peace. I think it was Richard Horner. Was that his name? Rest in peace. But yeah. Anyways, it was a decent film. I thought that the actors all did a fantastic job. I never watched the sequel though. I only watched people talk about it online, so like I only have this warped perception of what it was. All I know is like people thought it was overstuffed and that there was way too much going on. Just it felt like didn't really have a clear direction, and because of that, like apparently the film's very divisive. Like half of the people think, oh no, this is a really solid, fun Spidey movie, and the other half think, ugh, this is overstuffed, over bloated, and there's too much going on. I haven't seen it, so I don't really have an opinion on it. Um, And then we get to the Tom Holland ones, which they rebooted for the MCU. And this was the first Spider Man that felt really true to the comic books. He's supposed to be this kid from the Bronx who is bestowed these, like, powers that he wasn't expecting to get, but now he has to work through them. And seeing him navigate life with this newfound ability is really cool, especially when they get like actors that are actually age appropriate to what the characters are supposed to be. And it's a lot like growing up and like trying to navigate life and all of its awkward phases and growing into the person you were meant to be. I think, yeah. In terms of the actual quality of the Tom Holland movies, I just think they were competent and fun, and I thought the characters were like enjoyable. Um, but in terms of like something that I would consider like classics, like I mean, they're fun movies. Are they classics? I feel like they're really efficient studio films that have a lot of things to like about them, but to me, when I'm having difficulty remembering certain things about them. Like I remember I watched them, oh, that was fun. I like that. I thought that was enjoyable. And then I don't really remember much about them. Um like the Tom Hollands are kind of in one ear out the other for me, where it's like, ooh, when I was in that moment enjoying it, I liked it. But then after watching it and moving on to other things, it didn't really impact me as hard as something like the Tobey Maguire films, which, sure, I watched those when I was a kid, so I have the benefit of like, nostalgia for those films. But on top of it, I just feel like they were better films in terms of how they presented their stories with intentional music and like really fun editing. And I feel like the way they told the stories with the Tom Holland films, especially the first two, was very like efficient studio box standard storytelling, where it's like, yeah, they hit a lot of points that make this character like true to the character, but at the same time could have done much better with it. The third film, let's be honest, it was like just a fun excuse to see all these Spider-Men together, and all these old villains from all the old movies. It was a Spider-Man fans like fulfillment dream, like if you grew up with these movies with with these different versions of the character and the villains, and you finally get this new movie coming out that pretty much like is the impetus of years of like enjoying all of the different Spider-Man stories, then it was a genuinely fun romp. Like it definitely wouldn't have worked as well if it weren't for the fact that it had like 20 plus years of build up and fandom surrounding the previous Spider-Man. But because it did, it was fun. It was a fun time. I greatly enjoyed watching those films. I remember when I watched it in the theater, the crowd was hooting and hollering, laughing. Everyone was like, the energy was electric. We were cheering. We were laughing at a lot of the funny moments. Yeah, the third one, No Way Home, with Tom Holland and with the other Spider-Man, was a lot of fun, and it took some pretty bold moves for that franchise, where they decided to make everyone forget about Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, and I just thought, wow, that's fascinating. Like he has to pretty much start from scratch, and he's like working undercover. The thing that I was interested about with this new movie was, are they going to commit to that? Are they going to commit to the end of No Way Home with Brand New Day and follow through with like the fact that his friends don't know who he is, or a lot of the other guys don't know who he is, and he has to kind of work, detached from society? Like, are they really going to commit to that, or are they just going to hand wave it away? Like, oh, actually, teehee, we'll just do a little spell where everyone suddenly remembers you at the beginning of the film, and it's just like the first three movies. But they didn't do that. They committed to the seeds they planted in the third film. And I think that that was a really smart move, because it helped put the story in a brand new direction that I wasn't expecting. I thought it was cool seeing like Peter try to be like this independent scientific researcher who was essentially alone and not really, you know, able to be fully integrated with society because he had to keep his identity hush hush. Um, and because of that, um, it ended up being extremely difficult for him to really, you know, be part of be both Spider-Man and Peter Parker because now no one really knows who he is. He's having this parasocial relationship with his like friends through like their Instagram feed, watching how they're going and like posting videos, updates on their lives, kind of like what I'm doing. um, and he just is fighting crime and keeping tabs on what's going on and doing everything a Spider-Man would, Um, and then suddenly things take a strange turn when it seems there's this invisible force that's possessing people, and it's difficult for Peter to know who is this and who's causing this and why is this happening. And the film's basically about him trying to get to the bottom of things, um, and making these shocking discoveries along the way. And I'm not going to reveal what that is because I feel like, if you really want to watch the film, definitely check it out for yourself. But in my broad general opinion of the film is that I thought it was very, very good. I thought that I'm glad they committed to taking the story in a completely new direction. That was awesome. And I'm really happy that they kind of leaned into the more of the detective aspects of the character. I feel like with the previous films, they kind of focused more on the nerdy, inventor fighting crime fighter aspects, but this one they really kind of hone in on him being not just an inventor but a detective too. Especially with his superpowers, a really dorky, silly detective, but a detective nonetheless. And seeing him having to grip with his predicament he's in, you do feel pretty bad for the guy, but at the same time, you understand why he has to do what he has to do. And, they do a good job making you kind of feel and understand what's going on with Peter's internal world. And there's some strange and cool surprises in the middle of the film um, that takes the character under a new light. Um, like little spoiler here, he gets organic web shooters that just spring out of nowhere, and it's because he's facing a lot of stress due to his current living situation, not really having a strong social life and just crime fighting all day long. So yeah, I think that that's incredible that they went down that route, and I'm really glad that I was able to witness that. They also have some characters in there that didn't really know about and also wasn't expecting, like Punisher. I'm not really a Punisher guy. I don't know anything about the character. I know there was like a movie made about him, and then there was a rebooted Disney Plus TV show made about him. But that's about all I know about the guy. So he was kind of funny. He was enjoyable. I wasn't expecting a team up between those two characters. That was neat. Um, there's the Black Widow, a new version of the Black Widow in this movie. Wasn't expecting that. That was interesting, I guess, but because I didn't really know who this new Black Widow character was, it was hard for me to really get into that and be excited. But it was kind of interesting, but because I didn't know who it was hard for me to really like be like, oh, I know who that person is. But yeah, it really did feel like the way the film was paced, like a classic 1970s sort of investigative film, which was kind of a breath of fresh air. I will say though, it was a bit slower pace than I would have. I mean, I know it's weird. I'm one for like liking my films to be intentionally paced, where you definitely feel the director was behind the editing booth the whole time, trying to get that rhythm, get that scene right. This one, it feels like, I mean, it's it's good, competent, but I feel like it's a little too slow for me, or I don't know. Maybe I'm just have a very particular taste in how films are edited. This one's editing was a bit on the slower side, which I guess in this day and age, when executives assume everyone is TikTok brain and can't, you know, don't have the patience to sit through like a story, the fact that this film, like such a big scale film that's going to be making a lot of money, is attempting to be more slower paced and more intentional with its storytelling. Um, it's a breath of fresh air, and I think that's really cool. Um, but how would I rate this film overall? How did I feel about it? I had some big expectations going in because I was told by one of my co-managers that the film was really good, so I was expecting it to be a really good movie. Coming out of it, I liked a lot about it. I thought there were some very funny scenes in it, like one scene where he's like going into his apartment, but he's dressed up in clothes that he's not supposed to be dressed up in, which was very funny. Um, and him not knowing how to use his web shooters was pretty funny too, but also a little spooky and scary. They showed this scene where he saw like a tarantula getting out of its molten previous skin, and part of me was hoping that was kind of a setup for Spider-Man, Peter Parker, to molt his skin as he was growing. I mean, I know that would have been a little too intense for a Spider-Man movie, a little too body horror-y, but it would have been kind of funny if like they set that up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm molting, but I don't know. Um, but oh yeah, overall, uh I liked things about the film, but it didn't really blow me away or get me super excited. I was kind of like mostly just baseline, with every now and then I'd be like, "Oh, that's funny," or "Yeah, I'm getting a little bored," but oh, now I'm back to, "Oh, I'm kind of like, mildly entertained throughout," which is fine. But you know, I feel like a film that's able to get a lot of different reactions out of you, create a volatile, in a good way, viewing experience is going to stick in my head much more than a film where, yeah, it's fine. There's nothing like wrong with it really, but it's not really going to be as brain sticky as something like The Substance, or I know, completely different animal, but or Spider-Man 2. I guess that's a more appropriate example. But yeah, anyways, if I were to rate the film completely honestly, I would say it was a solid 7 out of 10 for me. I liked it well enough, but I didn't love it, and I felt like it was a little slow for me. But I still appreciate that they took the character and the story in a completely different direction and really committed to you know, to the the things they set up in the previous film. That was nice. It's also kind of wild that this is the first Spider-Man film to hit its fourth entry in its respective franchise. The Tobey Maguire series, it was actually going to have a fourth film, but it was canceled because the director, um, I'm forgetting his name right now. Um, but yeah, the director for that original trilogy, Sam Raimi, he was working on the fourth one, but he didn't feel like he had a strong enough script or idea to really, make it a great continuation. So he decided to just, back away due to creative differences. And so it's like, well, we can't give up Spider-Man. He's too profitable. We'll just have to reboot it instead. Um, but yeah, and then they made the Andrew Garfield ones, and they only made it to the second one with that one. Like before, they were like, "Oh, Barnacles, that MCU money is looking real good. Let's just end this Andrew Garfield franchise prematurely and jump straight into a new reboot." And then they rebooted the franchise again with Tom Holland, which now he is the first live action version of the character to get a fourth movie entry, which is pretty cool. Um, I mean, have his films been as impactful to my life as the original? No, but it is. There's a weird kind of respectableness about it being able to be as, you know enduring as it has for so long. So that's kind of cool. All right, but those are my thoughts on Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Broad general thoughts. I would get into specifics, but overall, there's some surprises in there, some cool things about the film that I feel would best be experienced afresh. So I'm just sharing what my broad thoughts on it. So there you go. All right. Well, moving along from that, um, me and my mom went to a nearby restaurant, and I got a bacon cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke Zero, and my mom got chili fries. We had our meal, and I thought it was really good. Like the vegetables, the beef, the cheese, the bacon, they were all perfectly ratioed, and the bacon was very crispy and nice. And the fries were like a nice fluffiness with a thin layer crisp, which was very good. And yeah, my mom gave me uh, some of her fries, and those were really good as well. And the soda was also like perfectly flavored and perfectly carbonated too. So, a very enjoyable experience all around. We then went into the car. Um, my mom drove us home. We arrived. We were going to have some ice cream, but we decided against it. And we had a chat with our family friend and my sister about how the film experience went. And then me and my mom worked on a family video for a good 3 hours. We were like editing footage together and splicing footage. Um, and yeah, we're getting like the family album and putting it all together. And it's been a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing the final product when it comes together. And then after that, we watched that new Y Files about the Nine and the JFK conspiracy. It was interesting. There was a lot of like itty bits and details here and there that were kind of cool, like a mini camera. I didn't know those existed back then. Like this conspiracy with like people holding these strange rituals, and the whole nine alien thing was made up after the fact to cash in on the JFK thing. So yeah, but yeah, there's a lot about the whole JFK situation that does raise an eyebrow and make you go, it's not as clear cut as one would think. Um, but yeah. But anyways, it was a lot of fun. After that, I need to use the restroom. And after I was done, I went in my room and I read more of Dune Messiah, 3 more pages. I'm doing 3 pages a day until the movie adaptation comes out. So that's going to be fun because the story will be fresh in my head by the time I go out and see it. And then I made this update video. So after I'm done recording this, I'm going to take my vitamin. Well, first I'm going to do some light editing to it, like improve the audio quality, things like that. And then I'm going to publish it on my YouTube channel and then get ready for bed and then go to sleep. Tomorrow I go to work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So hopefully I can get some stuff done in the morning. We'll see. Probably crush some cans, some bottles, put those away. Um, what else can I do tomorrow? Continue reading Dune, maybe. I was thinking of something I could do to help me be more accountable with like making my YouTube channel. And that thing that I was thinking of was, well, maybe I could record myself making my videos and publish that on my YouTube channel as a way of kind of creating sort of accountability with, oh, I actually did work that day, or oh, I did do work that day, and there'd be recorded evidence to show that I did do work. So that's an idea that's been floating in my head, and I think that'd be kind of a good visual marker. Because I notice when I have a good visual marker, I end up being a bit more likely to get things done. So there you go. Yeah, that's about everything I gotta say. It was a stacked day, delicious breakfast, fun movie, good lunch with my mom, working on a family project, ending it with some Y files. Nothing but good times. So thanks for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.